Okay, so we're all present, so we don't need to receive any apologies for absence. I would like to remind you that we are streaming live tonight. Technology is on our side. It wasn't last month. There is no delay and no one to bleep out any naughty words, so be careful. Okay, so previous minutes of the previous meeting. Or the minutes of the previous meeting. Anyone got anything to raise?
Yes, I have. 9.3. No, it's not the minutes, it's the agenda I've got, isn't it?
No, it's from last month's minutes.
9.3, it says, it refers to the MPWG doing the maintenance. It's not the MPWG, it's just the maintenance group. Because the item above was about the MPWG, the Neighbourhood Plan Working Group, and then the 9.3 was about the maintenance and the Buttercup Way business, wasn't it?
And that's the maintenance group?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't notice it until tonight.
Okay. Anything else? No? Okay. So we can proceed. Just amend that one.
Yeah.
Okay, an update from me. So we have installed the security camera. So now hopefully that will help with increased security for people hiring the hall, especially after dark. We did do some work on the lights, but I have noticed on the security camera there is at least one light that stays on all night.
And all day.
And all day. Yeah, I did that
So is this one or the one above the other?
One close. Yeah.
Yeah, it did get altered by the electrician to stop it coming on during the day.
Okay.
So it now seems
It's on at night, but it was also
all night.
definitely on at 2 o'clock on Monday as I drove past.
Yeah, I'll get that sorted.
Okay, we did try to install the hive, but we've identified an issue to do with the electrics in the hall, and that's on the agenda, so that hasn't progressed quite yet. And then there's just one, well, there is an update on the fence monies, and that's covered in the agenda, so I won't go into that. But we have had an update from Cheshire East Highways on the painting of yellow lines. So they've set their latest versions of the proposed yellow lines, nicely separated into different parts of the village, so everyone can comment on their own area. We agreed at Peace and Crime Commissioners meeting to share that with all the local councils. So can I get you to just to pass it on to, I guess we would include Tabley as well. Probably doesn't affect them too much. And then we also said that we'd arrange some consultation nights as we did before, so people can feedback and we can give a consolidated response to Chair East. So I propose that we use the next surgery date.
Which is Councillor surgery, that's on the 25th.
Okay, and then one day, another day that we can have it before that?
Before that or after it?
Before.
Before it.
Before the next meeting. And earlier the better, because we really want to get...
All right, well, we can do the 21st, which is a Friday. I'll update you on the others.
Okay. What about the Friday before?
14th, yeah? Can do the 14th.
Yeah, I think earlier is better than later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can come to that one.
Okay.
I can't do the...
So I'll put a thing out on the Facebook page, those dates. Also, all the plans in their high definition are on the council website. So again, people can download those. I'd encourage you to spread the word.
Have you sent it already? It's already on there, is it, Ewan?
Yes, it's already been loaded up, I believe.
What time were you looking at? 7 o'clock?
Yeah, 7.
I'll do it. Or 6 till 8.
23rd.
No, 20.
It's a Friday. Maybe 6 to 8.
Yeah,
6
I
till
would.
8.
I would, because then people can call on the way home
Yeah.
from work.
14th and the 20th.
The other
24th.
one is on the surgery day.
Sorry, how many councillors are we going to have at those
Just a minute.
events?
Just let me finish this.
Just
2 as a minimum, but I don't think if anyone wants to come, then come.
Yeah.
okay.
I think there could be a lot of people come, so I think
Yeah,
probably the more the merrier.
The last ones were well intended, and a lot of people had to sit around waiting for us to.
I couldn't make the 14th, but I should be able to make the 25th.
Well,
25th.
well, I'm off the
25th.
so we're
6 till
all
8.
right. I can do the 14th.
Oh,
Sunburn.
No, it's not. So
It's not on Friday.
Tuesday.
no, but this is a Tuesday, the councillor surgery.
Yeah, so we're doing it on when the surgery is.
So what time?
No, we're doing
surgery?
2. So that councillor surgery is at 6:30. So if we make it 5:30 to 7:30 that day.
Yeah, I think that's still a good
On a
idea.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
There's nothing on the Tuesday, no.
6:30. We do
The
something at
Bounton
6:30.
band, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the
Yeah,
surgery
Tuesday, yeah.
is
Right.
at 6:30 to 7:30, but if we do it an hour before, so we've got 2 hour slot.
Okay,
Is
yeah.
that all right?
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody
Yeah, no,
happy with that?
I think that's, I think 2 hours is plenty, is what you need, really.
As long as they're not having
maps on the website, are they able to be copied?
Oh, yeah.
Able to be copied, can I copy them to
Yeah.
the
Yep. I mean, they're out there for consultation.
Okay.
Informal consultation. This is not.
Yeah, it's just for people's information.
But anyone can go to our website and download them.
Yeah, but then once I put that on it and say when the surgeries are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. So Treasury's are currently sharing them with parking enforcement, and once parking enforcement have reviewed them and said they're okay, then they will go into the formal consultation. So my plan would be after each meeting to give feedback straight away if there's anything substantial,
5:30 to 7:30.
because we can only influence, and once they've decided, they've decided. But can we move on? Okay, declaration of interest.
Can I just ask you, because I'm just on the Parish Council website, Lucy, and I'm just looking, and when I've downloaded, I can't actually find the actual map. It's just, it's definitely there, is it?
We'll check. Oh, if it's not there,
All I can see is that at the moment.
You won't really see much on that, because it's a very tiny.
No, but it's not a map.
no, we'll check after the thing. If they're not, we'll upload them. But everyone, we've all got one. So if you need to use them on something else, ask them to take it from there.
Have I got one?
Well, I don't know.
Well, my email's bounced back. Can you send me mine, or can you forward it to me?
Okay. Moving on, declaration of interest. So, anybody got any interest, financial or otherwise, in any of the things we're going to discuss tonight?
No.
Okay. Public forum, anyone from the public want to talk? No. Yes, a wet Thursday in Pickmere is an ideal day to come out. Report from Councillor Parkinson. I haven't seen them, but do you have any?
Just checking now.
You're not really in the know, Alison. No, Alison said no. No, I've had
No, I've had nothing.
Okay,
Since.
so we'll move on to
It's
finance.
just quickly, it's not, it's Councillor Hayden now.
Of course, yeah.
Married neighbour.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, just thought it might be worth
Some months ago. Yeah.
So, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Have I got the right name?
It's Councillor Hayden. She's got married and just married now.
Back in about June or
In previously, I've got
back about June or July, I think.
where I've got that name from.
About the same HAG.
Okay,
Not noticed.
to look at the current financial position. Hand over to the clerk.
Yep, so the detailed February income and expenditure is in the appendix on page 3. Is there anything that anyone had noticed or?
Did my payment come through in March? Is that why that's not?
Yeah, so that came through, I think, it was Monday or Tuesday, so, yeah.
Is there difference in the amounts, just the amount of time on that particular day that's hard for? Maybe 24, 20, 80, 64, 56, 16, 16.
Oh, the village hall hire?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just
the hours.
times and
So they won't be the days that they were here, they were,
Oh,
That's the invoice.
that's just when they paid.
okay.
so we'll be for the ban for a whole month and somebody else might just hire it for a day or
Right.
so.
Okay, okay, thank you.
So the main thing that I would say is the deposit we paid, which was 3 months worth that we had to pay for the energy provider, which I was surprised at. But it's not something that we lose, it's something that we get a little bit back from each time. So it's not,
It balances out.
yeah, we get it back at some
The
point.
standard practice.
Yeah.
Do we have to make sure we've cancelled the direct debit for...
So I have
British Gas.
contacted British Gas and asked them to
Okay.
cancel it, so
Oh,
it should
okay.
have already ended now.
We've got new payments. Can't see how we can avoid either of those. If anyone wants to come up with a really good reason, particularly for the second one.
We have got the invoice to pay for the Cestrian tree care, but that's something that we've already approved to pay for that leaning tree.
Has it actually been done?
Today.
Oh, it's been done today, is it?
Yes. See, the one day you don't go down.
The one day you don't go, there you go, Pete.
Never heard him.
Oh yeah, he was making plenty of eyes.
Was he laughing at all that?
Yes.
Yeah. Like we said. Yeah.
And on that, we still need to plant something else, as per the tree surgeon's recommendation.
So has everyone approved the new payments?
Yeah.
So for planning matters, as far as I'm aware, there's none unless somebody can...
I have checked this afternoon and again
I
nothing.
checked this morning and there's nothing. So there's still outstanding ones
Yeah.
that haven't been approved or not.
Yeah.
So there's no new ones.
Okay. Update and actions from previous meetings.
So this is on the last page, page 4. So I guess the first one is the leaning tree, the works. So we will be paying the invoice that's come through today, and then we very kindly offered a donation that we accepted, and the works.
Do we have that donation already or no?
Is this for the tree? I don't think it'll have been done until it's paid, until it was done today. I think it'll come.
It says here that it was done on the 18th. Is that the day
That's when
he
it
was
was-
going to and then
that's when it was
He was ill,
Yeah.
so it was put back.
Okay. But we can update that, I guess.
Yeah. So the gutters got replaced, the village hall outside light was adjusted, but that's not been adjusted correctly. The pavilion fire door, Peter, you were with and said that's working now. The cupboard door in the village hall, again, have they all been?
I haven't actually been, I've been down to the pavilion.
Yeah.
What did happen with the door in the village, in the kitchen, was he said the hinges are no longer available, and in order to replace them, he took the hinges off the door at the end and put them on that one to repair that door. So the end cupboard I'm going to empty and put a sign on it to say that there is nothing in there. He's put the hinges on, it does work, but it just occasionally flips off. It doesn't shut properly.
So yeah, so a few of these are, again, they can be updated after this. Yeah, we switched energy providers, and yeah, we're still waiting to do organise that meeting, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
They've not come back with a date.
No, I sent him the option to choose his dates when he could come, and he's not replied to me yet. Don't chase him up again.
So we're just waiting for somebody to get the battery operated sensor light for the key box.
Yes, I didn't know if that was something you wanted me to get a handyman to do.
Is it straightforward? Is it something somebody can do?
It would just, I guess, we could just use something like a, you could use some, it would, yeah, I don't know what you could use, but it could just be hung up, but just securely, basically, or drilled, yeah.
A couple of roll plugs drilled in.
Double tape.
Stick it to the wall.
Does someone want to do it, or should we get someone to do it?
I can use a drill, but it's probably best down.
What's it? What, you just need a couple of holes.
Yeah, just drilling a couple of holes, and a couple of wall plugs. There we go. It was volunteer.
Tell me when and where you want it. It's not exactly hard to. You know, when you come back and it looks like a beehive.
So if I email you and we organise, I can drop it off, or I can leave it here for you, Sam.
You're going to plan Monday though, aren't you?
Oh yes.
Come back in.
Okay. I can say it might be easier, I'm not moving, I could do it if you want.
Well, you can do it if you want. I don't mind. Might be easier. I think I'm just carrying tools around in my car next week. That's right.
So-
It depends when I've got it in.
So I apologise, but the Hive thing isn't on the agenda. I thought it had on the agenda.
Just one thing on the actions list. Sorry, before we moved on from the actions list, it's not one of your actions because it goes back to before you were clerk. But I was looking through, in July last year, we agreed that where the erosion was, we were going to do some planting and protect the planting.
Okay.
And that was agreed in the July meeting last year, and we assigned funds for it.
Yeah.
And then there were some problems and it never happened, but I think we still want that to happen.
I think because we didn't get the little bit of fencing round, I think that.
So yeah, so I was looking, and so we in July we agreed to do it, and we assigned funds.
It was first of all we agreed fencing to go round, and then Jeremy couldn't. It couldn't be put in the water. They didn't like the idea of it going across the front. I personally think unless you put something round there, I think that we're wasting our money. I really do, honestly.
So
I mean, I'm just to another level of wasting our money. I don't think that anything that we plant there will stay.
Not without being protected.
What we've done is actually remarkably resilient. It surprised me how it's just not moved, it's stayed there. Maybe there's big rocks in the way, I don't know. Obviously, we've still got the influx.
There hasn't been much football through the winter, has there?
Well, I disagree. I disagree. You want to get down there, Nick. It's been busy. And this weekend, I mean, I'm glad that the things have come into place because, again, on Saturday and Sunday, it was chaos down there.
I think if film's gone as well, hasn't it?
What's that?
Some of the back film's gone.
Yes.
It'll wash through.
Yeah, there's no, because what happened before was as the water came in on the rougher weather, it had opened up channels, so the kids come along, and of course, that's what the kids do.
Yeah.
But it's just remained the same at the moment, obviously with the proviso that it's yet to be tested, of course. But spending more money, just at the moment, it seems to me a waste. There's so many options to go as well.
the only thing we could do is to plant some, obviously not down through the direct track because they'll just get mown down, but start by planting a few around the edge, so and allowing them to establish so that their roots are actually working, because it's the roots that are going to bind them in. So, I mean, I was going to bring this up in a bit later on, but the trees that I said that I'd apply for, I've applied for and they've arrived. So I was going to bring them up as in part of the, a bit later. So if the council agrees that they're willing to accept these free trees, we can perhaps plant some of those, because it's all sort of wildlife, British wildlife trees.
Well, I suppose the thing,
and they're free, so we can pick specific ones to plant and actually encase them in a piece of a. You can make an easy fence with 3 poles, chicken wire. So you put the tree in, or the bush, whatever, the sapling. Sorry, that's the thank you. And then you have 3 poles around it, chicken wire, and it's quite an obvious protective element, but it's also an obvious visual element. So if you imagine that being the lake there, the entrance, you would plant a few round there to do the supporting.
so I think it's great about the trees. I think we've already agreed that we would replant where the trees have been felled.
Yeah, so
But I wouldn't personally put trees at the water's edge.
there's some small. There's a selection of trees. It's a selection of saplings, things like hawthorn, blackthorn, dogwood. So there's a selection of different ones, and they're all wildlife things. So maybe the smaller ones. They're also, which I didn't expect. There's some oak saplings in there as well. So they might be valuable for replacing the tree.
But what we don't want at that point is things that grow too high.
No,
Because when you stand at the top, you don't want to see any trees.
no, things like dogwood put round the side there.
They're manageable, are they? They are manageable.
Yeah.
Well, they're manageable if you manage them.
You just cut them back when you need to, yeah.
Also,
Sorry, I just wondered, so we had a discussion back in July and we had a plan.
we never paid for any of that. All we paid for was the rocks with Jerry.
No, I know that. No, that was agreed at a separate time. So, I mean, about 6 months earlier. So, I just wonder if we're going to change the plan from the plan we had then that was agreed, whether we should actually, do we need to get some ecological or agricultural advice?
Why can't we wait and see what happens with the yellow lines? And see if we even need to do anything like that. Because at the end of the day, people who live in this village like the access to the water there. So I'd like to see that the yellow lines will work. That will, nobody in this village has a problem with it being open for us.
Mm-hmm. I don't think these are going to make a difference anyway, because they're not going to be planted. Not going to be planted.
I beg to differ with how blackthorn grows and how hawthorn grows. I'm sorry.
Well, you just
what I was going to say, it's not going across the front, is it? It's going onto the sides.
Well, it's the roots.
And
the roots just go everywhere.
Which is what we want underneath that, because it's the roots that form the binding.
What are we trying to do? What are we trying to do? Stop people from coming to the lake, or stop our residents from accessing the water?
No, what I'm saying we're using these for is to actually.
If we're trying to stop the residents,
just finish, please. What I'm saying we use these for is they have the roots. The roots form a lattice which actually stop the erosion of the soil around that area, because the roots will build out underneath. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about stopping.
If the double yellow lines work, then we won't have the problem anyway. So why can't we just wait, see how the double yellow work, if they work, and if we get our car park up in Forst and all the rest of it, let's have a look at it later on.
What's the time scale of the double yellow lines?
They won't have the shrubs then, they'll be planted elsewhere, because they're not going to
That doesn't matter, we can get shrubs at any time. They're always giving them away.
Yeah. It's true, we can.
So you can get them at any time, Alison. Don't, it's just ridiculous to say that we can't get trees given to us, because they're handing them all the time away.
I wasn't aware, thank you.
Yeah.
What's the time scale of the yellow lines?
Ewan, what's the timescale for yellow lines? I'd like to think we could get them in a couple of months, 2-3 months.
So last year, the meetings we had last year, they were hoping to have them done before the end of this financial year. That then changed, didn't it? So their original timescale was, though, that they thought that could happen. That then changed at a later meeting, which I wasn't at.
The last meeting?
Yes. Where they've said that the funds have now been moved into next year. Is that right?
Mm.
But they're certainly not talking about it being 2 years, Simon. I know in the past that was what they said, was it was 2 or 3 or 4 years even.
It was a 4 to 5 year plan, and it's now slowly getting nearer and nearer, but the trouble is it does sometimes get put back. That's the thing, that it will be, it's not, the yellow lines are not something imminent. That's the thing.
Well, I disagree. I went to one of those meetings and they are talking about that they want those yellow lines in there because it's certainly for Cheshire East, it's a high source of income.
They want them, but there's a process they've got to get through to get them in, and it's already gone into
They didn't seem to think there was much of a process.
But it's already gone into the next financial year. They've then got to go through their processes of making sure that that they put them out there. So I don't know how, it's not.
I mean, it's a 21-day consultation.
Yeah.
But we're not at the point of starting there. I think we put it back where we were. So we did the soil erosion, and then we decided that we needed plants to stop the erosion from eroding again. And then we thought, we'll put a fence around the plants to protect the plants. But the reason that we wanted the plants was because we spent all this money on the erosion bit.
Which is holding up quite well.
Well,
Do you think it's
Yes,
holding up?
absolutely, yes.
It is.
I'm surprised and delighted.
Will it hold up during silly season?
Well, it's holding up now, so do you know what I mean? The other option is that only costs the same amount as planting,
And think of the weather, bad weather we've had. I mean, it's just not moved.
It's not moved. It's been really good this year there. Last year, no, it has, Alison. I know you just.
I thought it looks as if it's going away from the stones because at one point
And also-
it was level with the stones, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it formed like a nice bank. Well, now it's gone away and gone down into a dip.
But the middle section last year was, that's why I fenced it round all the time. It was muddy constantly. It was absolutely
But
terrible.
there isn't any rocks there though, is there?
It's all held up really well.
I don't see the problem of a bit of, we're not talking about putting 40, 50 plants in, we're talking about 6, 7, 8 plants. I think a bit of judicious planting around the edge just to help start reinforce what's already there is not a problem. I don't see why planting 7, 8 of the right plants in that area is going to be a problem.
Can I just clarify where you mean? Do you mean where we took the bench out and moved the bench?
No, not in the front, because if you put them there, they'll just get ploughed down. So what we do is start just building around the edge, so that the roots start to work inwards. Because I think if you put them in front of it, they'll just get knocked down, pushed aside, and damaged. So we have to start.
To the right, there are already both sides are already small trees.
They're trees.
So you're just suggesting that we narrow the existing gap by planting at the sides of it, but towards the water's edge or towards the footpath.
Coming back in a band like that, in a sort of a quarter circle almost.
Funnel people into
So
the-
how many trees are we talking? Because a minute ago we were talking about 6 or 7. That sounds a lot more to me.
No, about 6 or 7.
On both sides.
No.
we're not, I think, because when I hear trees, I think oak trees. What we're talking about is bushes.
Yeah, but bushes were planted in front of, that blackthorn was planted all, and it's the most lethal sort of bush that you've ever imagined. It's
We don't
horrible.
plant blackthorn then.
So we've got dogwood, we've got.
Yeah, but they're all bad. They're all terrible.
They're all
trees.
nature.
Yeah, no,
This is a natural area. We're
it is, but
planting.
you're wanting to plant them where people are going into the water.
No, I'm wanting to plant them around the edge to protect the edge and to allow the roots to.
Well, the edge is
go on to
protected
help
at the
them.
moment. Anyway, it's my opinion. Do you know what I mean? It's just my opinion.
What Simon's talking about is
Yes, I
not
know.
preventing people going in the water. It's about putting some plants either side of the bit.
We're ripping plants down in parts of the village. We're putting plants up in another. Everything that's down there, none of it is managed properly. That's the problem. All the stuff that's going along from the other side isn't managed. It's all becoming all overgrown. So we're going to put more plants in that we're not going to manage, that we can't afford to manage or even manage. Or if we do, like we're getting told off because we've managed to cut one down or something like that. You know what I mean? I just don't understand it at all.
I think
That's how I don't understand what you mean we're getting told off.
Well, in one part of the village, we can cut whatever we want down, and then another part of the village, everybody was fighting me when I wanted part of the front of Jacob's Way cut down, and it managing properly. Now it's cut down, it's managed. It was done like every 2 years. But what I can't understand now, all of the places are being cut down, and nobody's saying anything. Well, Buttercup Way, it's not just like it's actually been, you know, like there's nothing there now at all.
We cut the laurels down there.
That's right. It was cut down, but now it's gone to another level of cutting down. So, you know, why is nobody saying anything about that?
Well, to be fair, I think that was brought up at the last meeting. So, I think let's part Buttercup. I mean, I think, yeah, Buttercup Way is a contentious thing in the village.
So, Jane, so in terms of, I mean, we've resolved with
I'm just talking about people who've got dogs. You take the animals down to the lake, and if you start putting things like a dog thorn, you know, you get one of those things going straight into the foot of a dog or something like that, it could kill it. That's actually how bad they are. It could kill it. Well, I don't want to be part of that.
Okay. So we had a previous resolution to plant there and to do the fence. We're now more than 6 months on from that and it hasn't happened. I'm not desperate to spend taxpayers' money if we don't need to pay taxpayers' money, but I think we need to resolve the issue of what we do, because we had a resolution to do it, we haven't done it. So I think we need a plan of what we are going to do rather than just leaving it to roll. Okay. So if a watch and wait and see is what we want to do, I have no problem with that.
We'll have to vote on it.
This is what I'm suggesting, yeah. Although it's not an agenda item, so I never know whether we can do a vote or not. It's a previous action, so.
Well, it's an update.
Okay. So.
You can resolve that if you want.
Right. So I suppose my proposal would be then that we consider watching and waiting and see what happens. But in the meantime, I think maybe the lake working group needs to have multiple meetings, but I think we need to come up with a more firm management plan or review the old management plan and work out what we're going to do with the IROS as a whole. Because, you know, as you say, there are some areas that are overgrown and some areas that don't.
Who can say that if we get RWO lines, if we get them, that the whole makeup of what we're dealing with is going to be different?
Absolutely. So I think if we come up, I think we should get some input from someone, I've said it before, someone like Cheshire Wildlife Trust or some other expert who can advise us. Because I think as the owners of that land, as Pickmere Parish Council, we've got a duty to husband that land and manage that land for future generations, but also for the wildlife that live there. You yourself have said about how much of the bird life that we've lost. Yeah. I think we should be looking at what can we do to bring some of that back. Are there habitat changes that we could make that would encourage them back? Are there things we can do to make sure we don't lose any more? Now, not all of that's in our control because we only control our bits of land and our bits, you know, where the lake edge is, but I think that's what we should be doing. And I know Simon has experience in land management, but I forgive Simon, I don't think he's a total ecological expert. I think we should get people who are local wildlife experts to advise us on the sort of things we might do. And then we look at the various options and then we bring something to council and we vote on what we should be doing going forward.
I agree, but I think you actually started that process anyway, didn't you? The different authorities were gave some advice. We also talked for a while, if you remember, about wilding different parts.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
So
I think we need to bring all these things together. And I mean, what would be really good is if we work out an ecological expert, whether that is Cheshire Wildlife Trust or somebody else, invite them to come and talk to the whole council. Would be really interesting to get their thoughts on, or just to the lake group and then the lake group report back. But either way, I think we need a group of councillors involved and the plan going forward.
I just can't. What do you have a TV?
But I'm still fetching Lucy.
So I am an ecologist.
That's what I thought.
Depends what.
I just wondered if you know, if it was the sort of thing you would know about, and if not, that I'm sorry for bringing it.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely chat. As I guess as the clerk, it would have to be as just a local person.
Because,
Yeah, I guess yeah.
okay, so, but just to move this on, because we were doing it really well.
Yeah, sorry.
I would say one thing is if we're worried about birds, because I've just done this to my garden, and I think everyone knows the link. The plants that the RSP encourages to plant are dogwood, backwood, rose, and I've just put it all around dog rose, and one of the other ones were. I've done it all around my garden, and I can assure you that my dog runs through anything with spikes on, and most gun dogs do, and I haven't noticed them dying.
Well, if you read up on blackthorn, it's one of the most lethal things that there is. I'm sorry.
But
If they dig in them, it can actually maim you. It can actually stop your finger from working.
Okay, I will do some research.
Do some research on it.
what one point I would make though is that what RSPB recommend for a garden environment may be very different from likely body marshland next to a lake. So the birds that Jane's complained of more like the reed warblers and those sort of that have disappeared from it. Is it the warbler or the other reed one?
The little warblers.
Yes. So it may be that we actually need to do other works to encourage more reeds to grow or something like that. So that's why I think we need someone who's a bit of an expert rather than.
There's things like the reason initially we kept the some of the willow down there was for bird life, and that's just been knocked away.
Okay. So
So
proposal
that's
is
part
that
of
the
management
the
plan.
lake group, whatever it is, has a meeting before the next council meeting with associate experts and comes with a recommendation.
I don't think we'll be able to get it for the next council meeting. If we've got these two meetings that we've got to do over the yellow lines as well.
Well, I mean, there are enough people on this council.
It's not
to choose things.
Yeah.
come along with an update. If we're trying to contact all these different, as much of all of you as possible, it will take some time, obviously.
Yeah, we're not going to just get people in within a month.
Yes, but we've got our local expert in and just to tackle.
So we maybe have a conversation with Lucy outside this meeting and then arrange for the lake working group to meet with, whether it's Lucy or somebody else, and get some input. Lucy may feel uncomfortable doing it herself, but may have a friend who's a suitably qualified person, but we can look at that.
But everyone would be nice to Lucy. Okay, who'd have thought that? Actually, I think it'd be so potential. Okay, so everyone should have had the local transport plan. That was sent around by the clerk. It's also on the Cheshire East website, so I'll upload that on our Facebook page. And there's a general plan and there's one for Knutsford. So again, they're consulting on that. So we should encourage people to read and comment. It's extremely detailed. But just there to make sure we share the information. Okay, item 10. So this came up in the last meeting, was in the public forum. We were asked if we would approve Party by the Lake. It wasn't on the agenda, so we had an informal talk, and I think we generally agreed that was a good thing.
Yeah.
There is a donation which follows this, which we have to accept or not accept. So unless anyone's changed their mind in the last month, we able to confirm formally that Party by the Lake can take place.
Yeah.
No.
It was a good night last year as well.
Cool.
The only thing I could find that's on that date is Cheshire Race.
Over there.
Cheshire Race is on the
It's nice
same.
now. It's still a good night, wasn't it?
But not the Irish.
No,
It's good though, banded.
Yeah, good night.
Okay, so that's formally approved. And then I think Lucy had a letter or an email from the Queen's Group.
Yes. They have confirmed that they intend to donate the money that they get from the Party by the Lake, and if not enough, then they're going to put the group will put additional money towards the cabinet, the external cabinet, and the installation.
Basically, everyone on the mailing list agreed. So they need to cover the cost, then any surplus after that will go towards cabinet and the general list, something like that. It's top chart.
Lizzie, could you write to the community group and let them know that we accept and we appreciate the donation? Okay, on to reports from councillors. So, Nelson, I believe you're first.
As mentioned in the last council meeting, the website is up for renewal. I have asked, we wanted to ask the council if they are prepared to fund the cost of the renewal of the Railway Plan website. The cost, I think, in the report was 230. The website is with Wix. I took the questions back to the group in the last meeting today about the use of the parish council website, and it's felt that they would prefer to keep with the one that we have, because this does actually comply with the requirements for a neighbourhood plan, because it is an engagement tool. And the parish council isn't an engagement tool.
How is it different?
An engagement is a two-way conversation. On our website, we can have, I think it's a chat box facility or some other facility where we can post something on the website, people can read it and people can comment and come back to us. And it's a two-way conversation.
So this cost will include a chat?
Yeah. One of the requirements, I was recently doing the webinar with John Fagan, one of the requirements is always with your neighbourhood plan to show evidence that you have engaged. Whether you do get engagement or not is by the by, but as long as you can demonstrate that you have attempted to engage with your residents.
I don't see how posting a specific different website makes any difference to how you engage.
Well, nobody can comment on the Pickmere Parish Council website. They can't comment on that page. If you post something, if we post one of our policies and say this is the native policy for whatever, nobody can then write on there or email us there on that website and say,
Does it not have a comment? Right.
No.
We get an email.
Well, the thing is, with the
That
parish
actually-
council website, it's a different format and a different outlet of information. It is just
It's an
an information provider. It's not an interactive tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what the neighbourhood plan one is, and it's one that can be altered and used by the neighbourhood plan team to keep people informed much more readily than the parish council one.
I get that, but I have to say, I'm not being funny here. I was really upset last time when we were having comments about using the precept, using villagers' money just for a security camera. And will the villagers be happy to use £248 when a very small percentage will probably engage on it? I mean, I have to hold my hand up, and I haven't looked at your website. Now, I meant to do it. I meant to look before the meeting, and I didn't, so I hold my hand up to that.
But we're also hoping as well that the more we try to push this and launch it, the people will engage with it. As I say, one of the things
It's
is,
a tip for tat, isn't it?
No.
I don't mean that, but,
Yeah.
you know, if people in the village are so against us buying £50 for a camera, which is a security thing, will they be happy with this? I don't know.
well, the council did vote though, that yes, they wanted a neighbourhood plan. And the general consensus of opinion from the residents when it was all first started was that yes, they wanted a neighbourhood plan as well.
That's fine. That was just my, this is
Yes.
just my personal opinion.
Alison, could I ask a question about the comment function?
Yeah.
Is that a future development of the website?
Yeah.
Because it's not currently got
No,
that.
it is. No,
How many people visited the website last month?
I have no idea.
I think that's basically how it would be a good number to know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, the alternative, you have to keep proving to, the authority or whatever it is, the locality, that you have attempted your engagement.
But I mean, the plan they've done questionnaires to everyone's house.
Yes, but you have to keep going on at each stage of your plan and keep going on, engaging and engaging all the time.
It's got to be.
The thing that they do actually say is, the more engagement you can have, the better.
The thing about the website is when you're right, there have been questionnaires, there's been all sorts of stuff, they're great. But a questionnaire is a snapshot at a specific time, whereas the website is a continual process. So basically, if someone feels that they want to comment or wants to check up on what's happening directly at that time, they can do. And it's a continual thing. So it's if you want, it's 24 hours a day. I don't know. I doubt anybody will be on there at 3 o'clock in the morning asking a question. But the point is, it's that continual engagement, whereas the questionnaire is an engagement at that one moment in time on one specific topic. If someone comes up with something and has a thought about it, they can feedback directly. And it means that we don't have to sit there and hold a meeting and then someone goes away and thinks about it. It's something they can post, they can inform us on, they can talk to us about at that moment in time. So it's an up-to-date continual process, and that's, I think that's really important.
My comment would be, even when we made comments about the website at the last meeting, the response was, I have to go and ask the group. You go, I was going to type on there, and we'll better get together and answer it.
No, in terms of the decision-making process, you do have to ask the group, because it is a group that is working together. But in terms of the answering questions that people have got, in terms of putting information on, in terms of keeping people up to date, that's a continual process that any member can do as an individual, unless, of course, it's a specific thing. It's like a councillor. You can go and talk to people about what's going on, but you can't make a decision. We have to come back here to make a decision. It has to go through an agenda. With the same with the neighbourhood plan, we have a group for making decisions. That's the whole process.
So a real-time conversation can't happen.
Yes, it can. And questions can be asked,
Okay.
but that's part of the requirement of the neighbourhood plan.
I did get one comment on the neighbourhood plan from a resident, which was, why do we need another website? The council website will provide all that is required.
It doesn't.
Alison, can I just clarify again? I know we discussed it last month, but I can't quite remember what the answer was. So I think when we originally said the council would fund the website, the plan was that in future it be funded by the grant that you're able to get. There's a problem to do with when the grant funding runs out.
There was a problem with the grant funding, but also the funding didn't cover website costs. It's assumed that the council would pay for your website.
Oh, right, okay. Because what I was wondering was, could you go into a monthly contract, and then when you're able to get your grant, you could cover it? But what you're saying is website costs aren't.
Are part of the grant. The grant application. What we have got, there is an opportunity as well to reduce the actual costs from the 230 that is on I think it's a core web page or something, and there is a light one which is about £60 to £80 cheaper, but we don't know whether we can switch from one to the other. If it's possible, then we would go with the cheaper one.
Right.
But at this point in time, my basic question is, would you would the council be prepared to fund the 230 then?
Right. I guess if you go for the cheap one, you probably lose some functionality.
That's what we need to clarify with you.
All right. Does anyone else got any other comments they want to make on this discussion of that?
Sorry, one more thing. Because I know it's been going on a few years, but I know there have been issues, and then we've had a whole change of council. So obviously, how long do we envisage the neighbourhood plan process taking from here? Just because if that's a cost that's never going to be covered by the grant funding, so that's what we're actually saying is that the council is going to have to keep funding the websites until we have a neighbourhood plan in place, basically. Otherwise, you're going to have a website for 2 years or 3 years, and then it'll.
My own personal comment is that I don't want it to be going on more than 12 months.
Okay.
I don't know about Simon. Simon is part of the team too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that we aren't going to be getting to the point where things are going to start getting written up.
Well,
I also think,
Can I just ask, can you stay on the neighbourhood plan when you leave?
yes,
I mean,
Double check. You know I guess the comment section that you want to see on the site. Is this going to be something where that it just gets posted, or is it something where it kind of just sends a notification that you've received an email, you've received
it's general chat, somebody can actually like a chat box, if I understand correctly. I'm not an
It's like a virtual
Yes.
chat,
It's yes,
so it's not something that gets posted on the actual.
I think the other problem with the grant was we applied for the grant and the actual renewal of the website was
outside of the ground.
outside of the grant.
Yeah.
They couldn't extend it, so we can, if grant comes up, we can apply for it again. And that would be that money would then be fed back into the council.
Yeah.
So it's not a
But
take situation in this. There is the point that if the grants process comes round again, it will be within the remit of where we are. So we'll be able
Yes.
to really.
So Alison just said that we can't use the grant to pay for the website.
No.
So that money isn't going to come back
All
to the
right, no,
council.
sorry. Right, sorry.
yeah, no, that's an email from said no, can't use grant.
Oh, sorry, I thought we just missed it. That was all.
So if this finishes at the sorry, I'll have to be I'll do it really quickly. What happens to the website? So if we're not
You can
confident,
then close it down if you want, if we need to. We don't have to pay them to renew it.
so
It will just stay there as a fait accompli that we've completed it, because what would go on the website would be your results of your referendum and the results of probably the name.
but don't
When all that information will be on the website, so if there's anyone in future can then go and the website will still be there. You won't be paying, but the website, the information will be there.
can they still use
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
So your neighbourhood plan would be on.
yeah, the neighbourhood plan would be on the
Community
website.
website.
Yeah.
Okay,
Community plan.
but my point still would be the same. It can also be on the neighbourhood plan page of the council. And could stay there forever at no cost to the council or the residents. And for a chat box,
It's finished product.
for 600 people, a lot of them probably wouldn't be interested.
But then
And I'm not going
the
to chat
alternative,
with you at night on a Friday.
the alternative to that is then that we have regular functions whereby we are offering engagement to people, and we then have to look at other ways of engaging with the residents, i.e. printing more questionnaires, more brochures, more leaflets, posting them out or delivering them out, just to make sure so that we can say to locality, this is an example of how we have communicated.
I actually think, Alison, this is just my opinion, I think that still gets to people more than people even thinking about getting on a computer and going.
Yes, it does, but it will cost a lot more money
Yes, I know that, but
and a lot more
I
effort from people.
still think that is the way that it should be done, personally, if you're going to do it. I don't think I can't imagine anybody get on a website and start thinking, oh, let's have a look what's going on in the neighbourhood plan. Just can't.
So why do we have to parish council?
Yeah, why do we have that?
So people can get information about documents, what we're doing, what we can do. And they can get information about the neighbourhood plan if they want. It's all there, it's all free. And I think, we did say that we would fund it till the grant was applied for. But it turns out the grant couldn't ever have funded it, so in some ways we were slightly misled at the beginning.
We said
I
really
really
look at it.
extent.
I think it's worth extending for another year because of where it is. I mean, we are aiming to get this sorted, so I think there is an element of there's going to be more and more information coming out and being put on it, and I think it's going to be quite a valuable resource going forward. And I think it needs at least another year to see what's happening, to keep people informed.
I don't disagree with a valuable resource, and we should put the information out there. I just don't see why we should pay £230 so we can do it for free. Just so we can have a little chat box.
It's not just the chat box, it's the whole thing. It's the fact that the food can be involved in it and how it
It's a lot of danger if we have a chat box within our website, the council website, which attracts people to start making comments about the council.
That's fine, it's fine. Yeah,
So the chat box is private anyway. It's not for people to see.
it's not like a comment box.
So I mean, if somebody was going to say something, they could just go and say it to Alison anyway. You know, why?
Because the point is it's out there for the public, wherever they are, within
Yeah.
too, if you want to have a look at it. But if there's somebody commenting there negatively about what the council's done, nothing at all to do with the neighbourhood plan, is my comment.
I think probably question is never vote. So the proposal is that we fund the neighbourhood plans website for £230, which to put in perspective is 1.3% of the precept.
Yeah, so just before we have a vote, just one more thing. So I suppose I'm just thinking about in 12 months' time, if the neighbourhood plan isn't finished, and we know things often take longer than hoped, it would be, so if we agree to cover this cost for this next 12 months, and the project doesn't finish, we're then going to be in a situation where there is no other source of funding other than the council again to pay for it for another year. I'm just wondering, Alison, whether we need some information at that point as to how much of the additional functions that the separate website has, how much they've been used, because so the sort of live chat
Certainly
function.
at that point, yeah.
Yeah, I think
At that point, it would be a review of the.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking is a live chat function, as you have on a, you've got car insurance, so there's a live chat function. That involves a person sitting there waiting to answer all those questions. And dedicated as the neighbourhood plan team are, I doubt there is someone there, right? So it strikes me that having that function rather than the ability to just have messaging, which could be via email, I'm not sure that adds very much, in which case all of that could just be on the council website. And that would still record that you'd had interaction. I'm not quite sure if you want open interaction that can happen at any time, not via email, why that can't be done through the neighbourhood plan Facebook page. But I know you've mentioned Hobby's Facebook in the past.
Yeah, not a lot of people are on it anyway.
Not a lot of people are on Facebook.
Yeah.
I think the advantage of having
There are quite a few people on.
But are there more people on the neighbourhood plan website than on Facebook?
I don't know.
Right.
I think the advantage of having a dedicated website is it's exactly that. It's dedicated communication screen, which is what is needed for this particular process.
It's easy to get.
Because of the nature of what the neighbourhood plan is. It needs that specific dedication rather than being somewhere else. And we have this opportunity to maintain something that's been set up. And
It's easier access and it's direct access straight away.
rather than having to go through a menus or various other.
But the page on our website just says neighbourhood plan. If you go to Cheshire East and say Pickmere neighbourhood plan, it goes straight to our website.
Oh, well,
Without actually having more direct that could be. Doesn't it?
you know what I'm saying, when you go on to the thing here, Parish Council's website, then you go through menus and various things to find it.
But if you go onto your website through an iDevice, there's a menu you can hit. You go on through a PC, you can't access the menu. It's not quite been set.
So I've just managed to access it, but it's a bit difficult. You have to sort of hover over it and then it appears and you can access it. But when I tried earlier, when I hadn't maximised it, you couldn't because the title box was in the way or something. So, so can I just suggest an amendment to you? Maybe you've not made a proposal, so I probably shouldn't amend a proposal. It's not been made, but I just think that if we do approve this for 12 months, then in 9 months or 10 months time, so we've got time to look at things. I think we need a report back with how many times the chat function has been used, how many people have visited the website, those sort of metrics, so we can actually decide if we would want to approve it for a further year, or whether actually all those functions could just happen on the parish council website.
It's not a very valid point.
But have we not got the information on what happened last year?
Well, not here in this meeting, no.
But surely that's if you're saying we'll wait another year.
Well, we haven't got this information because it wasn't up and running all that long.
Who's the administrator of the site?
Yeah.
You just go on now.
The problem is the funding is needed at this meeting is the problem, isn't it? I don't know.
I think what the point that Nick's made is good. I think we need it, but I think there is a point of having, say, after 9 months, having that review, because we'll actually have a year's worth of data anyway. And we can actually look to see whether the uptake is increased or stayed the same or decreased. And we can have a look at various the data from it and see whether it is.
Okay, so we've got an amended proposal. The amended proposal is that we approve the cost of the website for a year on the understanding that data will be shared as to its effectiveness.
In about 9 months' time. So to thought.
Well, you can do that every month. So
well, it would be good to see the process over that 9 months so that we can actually make a decision for the next one.
Quarterly updates, not quarterly.
So I think we need a period of time.
So the proposal is that we approve the cost of the website on the condition it's for 1 year and that there are updates at the end of that year or during the year.
Yeah. It needs to be far enough in advance that we can review those before we have to make a decision about future funding. Because here we are today having to make a decision whether the website will shut down and we don't have the data. So we need the data far enough in advance, don't we?
Maybe 6 months' time. And that gives the time to, it gives it a good enough spread of
Well, just every month. If it doesn't get approved, the funding will be for a year. So every month, bring us the data.
every month.
Oh, that's.
You make me finish, please. I'll ask you in 2 seconds. Right. Okay, so that's the proposal, that we approve the cost and provisory it's for a year and we get a regular update. So those in favour?
Sorry, next do.
I do as well. I'm just,
What about no?
no, I can't vote no because I just, no. I'm just not sure if Look, I'm personally, I'm voting, how I feel, and I'm just not sure. And that's why I want to abstain.
Abstain. No, we didn't.
4 for, 3 abstain.
Okay.
That's carried then.
Lorraine. That's it.
So I've had great problems trying to get the fire service to come in here, and we've asked them to do a survey, as we talked about last time. Anyway, because they're a regulating body, they actually can't do it. But what they did tell me was, legally, we have to have an up-to-date certificate every year, an annual fire safety certificate. And as such, they gave me a list of people to go to. So I've sent round to everybody the quotations. I actually rang quite a few people. A lot of them wanted to do the full health and safety thing where you pay monthly, which is just not, it's not, for us it's overkill. And I got 2 quotations back, basically, with what we need to look at the building, tell us if we're safe, what's safe about it, how many we can legally have in here, and it all goes down. It's part of however many, you've got 5 down here and stuff. So. But that's, I mean, I can't tell you any more than that. I've sent you all the quotations, and that's what I've been told by the fire service.
I did look into that as well, and fire safety certificates are usually issued for premises where there's people employed there.
Well, they
said
said no.
because they were done away with in 2005, and the new fire regulations that
Well,
came
maybe you know something they don't know.
in 2006 says that if you have a hall like this that you're hiring out, that you have to have a fire risk assessment. That you can do yourselves, or you can do it with a health and safety qualified person. And one of the things is that they then would come out and they do a fire risk assessment of everything that is in the hall. The previous council had a fire risk assessment as well, and that's how they operated the hall. But in actual fact, if you do the risk assessment, I've got an example of one, and our own ward councillor, Kate Hay, is an health and safety qualified person to do these.
She volunteering.
So she had asked me some questions, and yes, she was quite prepared to help, and she would.
But the fire service office and something said no.
No, because they're a regulated body.
Can I just ask one question as an aside? The one thing that I keep coming back to through all of this is, whilst we obviously need to get something in place, something either the risk assessments or whichever we agree. But the one thing I do think we should have is just smoke alarms.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, really, realistically, I would think we should have one in here, one in the hall, and one in the kitchen at least, and we can stick those on the roof ourselves.
This was part of the thing that we'd said going forward,
Yeah.
that we wanted to, I wanted to ask them, where should they actually be sited?
So what I was going to say, just I propose that we get that just as a starting point, 3 smoke alarms, one centrally here, one centrally in the kitchen, one centrally in the hall. Because at least we've done something there, and it's a starting point, and it's something that
We did go through this all in the last meeting.
yeah.
Now, my understanding from reading the information that I've read is that these companies will come in and do the risk assessment,
Yeah, as well.
and then they will tell us what we need to do, and then we just get it done. Now, it's possible that Kate Hay will come in and do this for free. It's sort of a bit late in the day to introduce that into this discussion. So, again, I think
Just after
we would legally required to have the information.
I think just as
It's waited a long time not to get it.
I could ask, where is the current risk assessment plan? Is it in the final assessment?
It will
Or is
be in the
on-
file cabinet, yeah.
Can I read this out to you? I've sent you all the copy. So he's responding to me, asking about the occupancy form for his form, because we don't know exactly. And the guys come back, I manage the fire service for Cheshire West. I'm not sure if it's the critical thing in the village hall is that it requires suitable and sufficient fire risk assessment. We recommend this is carried out by a third-party accredited professional. This document, which is a legal requirement, will give you your maximum occupancy figures, which is based off the number and width of escape room, among other information and recommendations to ensure that you are complying with fire safety legislation. It doesn't matter. The fire risk assessment should be reviewed at least annually, and if anything significant.
I think it has been done that.
Yeah, a risk assessment, but not a certificate.
It is a risk assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the things that we've said that Katie said, one of the things that you should do is your monthly, a monthly fire extinguisher check. We have an annual fire where they come out and test them and do them, but each month we should be doing it. And there should be a thing, emergency lighting testing.
The checking is important. What's that?
Smoking check.
You check your fire extinguishers,
Just make sure they're not damaged.
see that they're not rusty, they're not damaged in any way, and there's nothing coming out from around the top.
That's a legal point.
That's a legal requirement, yeah.
Well, it was just that you brought it up last thing that you wanted to know what was happening. I did it and I'll leave it with you.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm at.
I think that's great, thank you very much for that, but I think really the certificate is a bit OTT.
I just think so. Sorry to go.
So just then, these two quotes are just companies come out and do the legally required risk assessment. Okay? That's what we're talking
Is that a risk assessment? I thought it was for a fire safety certificate.
The risk assessment.
about. Lorraine's just read.
Yeah, originally it said fire safety certificate.
Okay, well that would be a typo. So these two quotes have someone come out and do what's required, who's qualified. So unless KKBs can come out and do it for free, instead, that's where we are. We are not legally compliant as a council,
Is she an
and we need to
accredited?
become legally compliant.
Probably not.
No,
Is she
we haven't got the.
Well, they're suggesting an accredited, they're not saying that it's definitely got to
Don't think we need to look.
Yeah, I think we should be looking for something, or contacting the previous car. Because we used to have them on the notice board outside. They used to
There
have
was definitely a number
And
that was always allowed in here. Everybody knew the
and
number.
there was a certificate for, there were various certificates on there, but they were taken down.
Who took them down?
And we took them down, when she took the notice board down, she said, you don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that. So they were taken down because the fire extinguisher certificate was the one that I put up. Because that was then one of the things, because he came out and he did the blankets and the two fire extinguishers.
But we're really getting nowhere in this discussion. So, would somebody like to make a proposal, Peter?
I'd like to propose that we look for the final risk assessment in the final cabinet
I agree.
and not just go off and do it all again. No point in reinventing the wheel.
Okay,
If we've actually got,
obviously we have one.
I can't believe previous parish council have not been compliant. There was one.
So,
Yeah.
so from what you've just read out there, Lorraine, what they've suggested is that we need a fire risk assessment.
Yeah.
It needs to be reviewed annually.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be reviewed by a accredited person. And they recommended an accredited person, but they didn't say that was a legal requirement.
No.
So it could well be that we have an old fire risk assessment, which is still valid if nothing else has changed. But I still think we've got the issue of we don't have smoke alarms.
That's a big thing.
And we all feel we should have smoke alarms.
Yeah,
We do
Sure.
have smoke.
we do have smoke. We have, well, there's one in there, in the
One in-
porch. One in the porch.
Okay, but so it would still be useful to get advice from someone who knows what they're talking about, or about where they should go at least. So we could delay going ahead and paying someone to come in and do it
Yeah.
on the basis that we find our one and get some advice from
Well-
someone as to where we put smoke alarms. Because we really need to have this sort of.
Okay, there used to be a smoke alarm there, and it was taken down because when these spots were on, it created heat which set the smoke alarm off.
Well, there should be one in the kitchen for sure.
There was one, wasn't there? No, it wasn't, it's at the porch. So how about contacting them, proposing that they contact the fellow who comes and does the fire extinguisher, or contacting him and asking him for he would come out and say, well, yes, until we find this where to put smoke detectors.
That's a non-determinant amount of money. It's not about to do it.
Well,
we can't vote.
as Peter suggested, then let's look at this risk assessment.
I do believe that if you put in new smoke detectors in anyway, it should be the main spec one, which is a massive expense to put.
You got put battery bombs in there.
You can just put bathroom ones in. As long as they work. that's
Even in
fine.
even in a building that's hired out to the public though.
Yeah.
Now, is that right?
If you do your kitchen, things like that, you have to have maintenance of it. Certainly doing,
Yeah, but that's domestic property.
well, this counts as,
Yeah. If you haven't.
honestly, if you rent a house out, you have to have maintenance.
So to my mind, we're coming back to the idea of getting a accredited qualified person to come in and tell us what we actually need to do to meet the legislation, because we as a council are legally responsible to be doing it the right way. And I've heard 3 different opinions about what we should and shouldn't do, and none of us know. So, I mean, I could consider a proposal where we vote on accepting one of these quotes if Councillor Haig is not in fact an accredited person who could come and help us to do it, for not thinking that's legally acceptable. But I think we need to be moving forward. I don't think we can come back next month having done nothing and just say, oh, we couldn't find one and she wasn't actually able to help, and now we need to vote again. And I think by next month we need to actually get it sorted.
I'm going to say, shall I read out what she said? A village hall shall have fire safety testing to comply with regulatory reform fire safety order 2005. As it's a non-domestic premises where the public has access, a fire risk assessment must be carried out and reviewed regularly. If a fire alarm system is installed, it should be tested weekly and serviced annually by a competent person. Emergency lighting must be checked monthly with functionality and professionally serviced annually. Fire extinguishers should be visually inspected monthly by a person who knows what signs to look for. And that is just giving an idea of what we need to have in place here, that we should check monthly. I mean, I do know that when we come in on a Wednesday morning, Peter always checks the fire door. It's simple things like that that you need to have written down, that if anybody is coming into the hall, that they know what checks that they should be looking for. They should be testing the fire door. Also, where is our assembly point?
I thought you said you'd got a fire risk assessment.
There should be one somewhere, yes.
Well, let's just assume there is one if we can find it.
Yeah.
All the rest is subsidiary. We don't need anything else.
Mm.
To satisfy what Kate's saying.
Well, I think the point that Nick was making is that we don't know where it is. We may not find it. This would be the second reason we've discussed this and not knowing it. I think the proposal is that we ask one of these companies to help do the fire risk assessment. And
So talking about just doing the fire risk assessment for village hall.
Because we also hire the building.
no, that's what
I
we're
didn't
talking about.
ask for that. I didn't ask for them both because then
Building,
that would be probably another thing.
But it's not a
tax assessing.
we can add that as an agenda item for next month. You could probably also ask the company if they
Do two for one type
Yeah.
of thing, yeah.
while they're here. So,
buy one, get one free.
there you go, good bog off on them.
Yeah.
Right, so the proposal is that the pavilion's not currently being hired out and used, is it? Whereas this is used most days of the week, so I think there's some urgency to it.
Open to the public, isn't it? We've just approved the use of it.
In June.
Yeah.
Yes, so we've got time to sort it before June, whereas I think
Yeah.
we can't let this roll another month from this bill. That's my point.
Right, so, first one is, and I guess we go with the cheapest quote, for a fire risk assessment, so we can understand the situation and what we need to do. We pay the £245. Okay. What would you propose that? Seconded. By those four? Good vote for?
Two.
Anyone against? Same. Alrighty. Who makes it?
So, my apologies, I've just got to ask one question. Amos messaged me. Can I let him, we did, he's going to continue, didn't we? Last month.
That's my regulation.
Yes, right, I'll let him know that we know when to start. Right, excellent, you want to. Apologies to my disappearance of my time. Thank you.
All right, so the next report's to do with Sale Angling Club, and we had some correspondence this afternoon on that. So they've got a new secretary or chairperson or whatever.
Where are they living? Ewan?
I don't know. I'll ask.
Because the one that they've got.
Let's not say that on a live feed video where they're
Yeah.
living.
Okay, well,
Not their address.
no, well, I wouldn't be asking for the address, but the guy used to live in Altrincham, so we can be like, then the guy then moved, then we had somebody who used to manage it fairly well, and we ended up with somebody who lived quite a bit further away. And so it's not getting managed quite as well. Now I know that there is somebody in the village who is, but we are getting fishermen down there who are not fishing, don't have licences, and quite frequently. And so I think that they need to have, for me, they need to put a bit more responsibility into coming down here and managing that they're checking licences and they are, people who are fishing here really are allowed to fish. That's part and parcel of.
They contacted us.
Yes.
So it sounds like there's new management and.
Well, no, because it'll be the time of year when every year they have to, or 2 years.
Yeah, and you person who's taken over and just taken over.
And are they local, just out of curiosity? I'm not asking you to say
Hasn't specifically said it's a person.
because I find from experience, I find that people that are not local don't manage it very well. That's just my opinion. If you go to the other side now that's being managed, it's a local person who actively walks around the lake and lives here, and is actually actively stopping people from fishing if they're not supposed to fish. Are these people going to do that? Because for me, I think that it's getting somebody who's the right person. We need to stop people from coming down here fishing who shouldn't be fishing. And if they're not prepared to, what's the point of just taking money if they're not prepared to actually look after it properly? Instead,
Perhaps we need a number that we can ring. A number that they will answer, because I actually, and you did, got abused.
oh yeah, last year I've been abused by the same fisherman for several times, and he doesn't have a licence. I've asked him if he's got a licence, and I know he doesn't have a licence. And he's very, very abusive. They're doing overnight fishing, which they shouldn't be doing. So all of these things, to me, I don't think we should just give it willy-nilly. I think we need to. They also left a lot of mess down by the lake. Them fishermen, they were burning. They actually burned our stakes that we had.
Yes.
Yeah, they actually burned our stakes. So I think that. Yes, I think it's all well and good letting your rights go out to somebody, but I'd like to know that person is going to police it.
one of the problems is, of course, there are some signs, but they tucked away in the trees, the thing going over them. So I can understand why a fisherman can find fishes and nothing happens.
But also,
But on the other hand,
yeah,
yeah, on the other hand, if we're charging them 600, was it? For this, surely anybody in responsibility at Sale Moor Club is going to make sure that's policed properly, because that's a waste of money for them.
well, the old chap who had it for years, Roy, he did police it, and he and my husband was a bailiff for quite a few years. So
We should just make it plain that that's what we want.
I don't think that the person who had it the last night when Roy gave up or passed away or whatever didn't manage it very well.
Right, so, I mean, there are a list of current rules, so we can add. I'll ask for a contact number we can call if Jane's abused by the fisherman again.
Yes.
And then doesn't
Can I-
immediately go onto an answer machine.
Yeah, we can ask them to, you know, police the people that. I mean, I imagine these people aren't their members.
They're not members, that's the problem.
But normally an angling club who has control over waters will have bailiffs who come down and check the people that are fishing there are supposed to be there and are members and have got their own license. Just a second. So, but no, I'm not talking about this club, I'm talking about that's how an angling club would work, right? So they have bailiffs who come down and check that, because otherwise people are fishing their waters and potentially taking their fish without paying, but also they have a responsibility for managing the waters. So that may involve putting fish in, it may involve feeding fish, it may involve clearing weeds, those sort of things. And also making sure that people don't fish overnight, they're not allowed to fish overnight and that sort of thing. So whichever angling club we're going to give the rights to, we need to make sure that they are agreeing to terms similar to that, so that they will have bailiffs available to come and enforce breaches of the rules.
Mhm.
The wording of that, I'm not sure. So the wording of that said that the members of the angling society who were here had to have their rod license and their ID card, membership card, and be willing to produce it to either Environment Agency, police, bailiffs, or Pickmere Parish Council officials or councillors. But it didn't actually say anything in there about that they would police the waters and remove people who shouldn't be there. I don't think. You see what I mean? I think if they want the waters, they have to be taking responsibility for removing people who are breaching their rules.
In true Councillor Greenwood's way, I want to add something else into this. That have we ever looked at whether £600 is the going rate? Perhaps it should be twice that.
Well,
I don't know.
the other person to actually ask is, yes. So it's worth asking Colin, who has all the other side.
Okay, so could you pass the contact details for the client?
I've got his details.
Oh, well, we'll make an inquiry. So the rules that we've already got to police the people fishing on the lake.
And he lives on those lands, so it's easy.
Anything else that we want to add on to the list of things to do? Okay, so check whether £600 is reasonable. Given the smart conditions. Take it from there. All right.
Is that per year?
Yeah. So, yeah, sort of go up and down the last 3 years. Okay. So there's one other item. Is there a report for the tree thing?
You had struggled to know which one
Yes.
it was. There is the invoice from last year, which says specific ones. And I found a quote a separate quote. So there was 2 quotes last year. And I found another one, but it was considerably less than the one that we did initially pay for. But I'm not certain what is and what was, that it was the works that were needed to be done on what you'd agreed.
I think the problem was we were presented with figures of sort of there's this group, this group, this group, this group, and prices that was what was needed done. And then we decided we couldn't really afford to do all of it in one go, and we didn't all need it done in one go. So we decided to do this group and that group this year, and then that group and that group the other year. But if that wasn't clearly recorded anywhere, I couldn't tell you which ones we did.
I can't remember which ones we did, but we said it was going to be
Yes.
the most urgent ones,
Yeah.
didn't we?
So unless we can look at the original 4 figures for the 4 groups and work out how much we paid, and from that work out which 2 groups it was that we did, and
I
that
think the
then
invoice actually states which groups.
It says, like G43, and then it'll say species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a report, and that's where all these references come from.
yes.
And there's photo. There was
Yeah.
a spreadsheet that managed it of the codes,
Yeah.
whether they have to be done now,
Yeah.
have to be done soon,
Okay.
or have to be looked at.
Yeah,
Okay.
the urgent ones.
And I'm pretty sure she did spreadsheet as well as to split it.
Yes.
So that was going to be 4,000 for last year, or
Well, that was
in this current year.
the ones that have to be done now,
For next year.
that separated the ones that need to be done soon.
So there must be an email somewhere.
But I just sworn that it showed us that in through the meeting.
I don't remember that.
Maybe I should. Maybe I meant it.
I remember looking back at something, but I don't remember finding
I think that, but I have seen it recently,
Okay.
so I'll find it.
Can
Can we,
Is it the agricultural safety report? So I've got that, and then I've got this map,
Yeah.
on this map, and then I found 2 separate spreadsheets. Sorry, I printed them really tiny. And they are a general tree assessment, and again, they have a reference number, a species, and then they do have a column for priority. And for whether or not that is.
no, this was a much simpler one.
Okay, so yeah, this one's done by the consultancy.
I'll find the, can we remember how much the second tranche of cost was?
Yeah.
That's it.
I didn't think it was. I thought it was quite a lot less. I thought that first year we paid a big chunk and it was going to be a lot less. But
I got this from
about the same.
looking from because she's purchase orders were made for 2 different amounts. One amount we paid, one we haven't paid, and it is a much smaller amount.
So the purchase order we haven't paid. We'd have a day complexity, don't we?
They did, and it was sent out. I've got any of the emails.
So,
of them being sent.
I don't think we've got enough information to make a decision on this tonight.
It was later last year. But
I think I know where the email is.
but I was trying to get something in place to get it going before it comes round to we need to do.
Because it said 3 months, wasn't it?
Well,
We should be doing a tree survey.
Yeah.
but the information exists. We should have it in front of us to make a decision.
Yeah.
But we could defer it to next month.
Yeah.
And I'll dig out the information we need to make a decision. Take it from there. But I didn't see
We
the
can't
email.
find any more invoices for tree work that was done.
No.
Or council.
There was just that one lot.
Because there was still some work needed doing here, on the
Yes.
drive, and I think something on the playground.
It's definitely here.
All right, but we'll find it next week.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the something printed.
I was just doing that. There's a tree in the. Okay, Chair.
They could tell me there's a tree smell.
So if you go into our park, next to us, as you go in from our lane, on the right-hand side, there's a tree that stands on its own. And I noticed just last night that it's been into it's splitting its two sides and it's splitting down, split down the middle. I only noticed it for the first time this minute. So perhaps you can have a look at it. It's the thing.
Is that on survey?
No idea.
It might be on the survey if it's only just doing it there.